making sure I celebrate. Oh, I don't know if my camera is going out again, but I just had some notification across the screen. I don't know how to function this thing. It's really annoying me. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. Because if I have to upload as many segments as I have to upload to get through this and to do this, it is what it is. It is what it is because we're moving forward. Onward, upward. Onward, upward, and forward. Yes, I. Yes, I. Ashe, ashe, oh. So, while I'm chilling in my space, didn't get dressed, and I got y'all all in my face, it's okay. Because everything is not going to always be perfect conditions. This is what I need to grow from as well. I did speak it in the past video that my cousin says, why does everything have to be a production for you? I don't know. I come from a grand scheme of production. What do you want me to do? I don't know. Like, yes, it is. Everything has to be pretty much all I's dotted and all T's crossed. That's how I function best. But as time grows along and goes along, I am learning that I have to impromptu. Just like I would do if a nigga asked me to come through. Not as far as coming through, and excuse my French because I don't use that N-I-G-G-A word in that sense. But it's just like it flowed out my mouth, so I said it. But yeah, I mean, like, I impromptu to get ready for dates. Because I try not to miss no free meals, honey. A free meal is my deal. So yeah, if I can impromptu to throw it together, to put it together, to be somewhere when somebody is just randomly calling upon me, this is what needs to be done, period. So I can't just be like, oh, I didn't make my meal for the day. Oh, I didn't get to bed last night. Oh, my air conditioning is out, which it has been for the past 72 plus hours in this heat. That's one of the reasons that I was delayed in getting here as well. Like, I'm like, oh my God. So I never turn on my air. And the one day, I want to say it was Tuesday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? Whichever day, I don't know. I done lost track of the days now because it's been the hot as F in here. And you probably could hear my fan blowing. Because I went to the basement to get certain things. That easel was one of them on the list, but I realized that easel was staying in the basement. And when I'm able to move my office space and arrange the things that I would like to be done the way I want them done, then that easel will get utilized. But until then, that big A easel, it ain't welcome up here in my space. I don't have room for that. So it's not the kind of easel that's lightweight. It's actually a boardroom easel. So yeah, no easel. No notes, free flow. Here we go. And when I went to go get the easel, I remembered the fan, but I forgot one other thing that I needed. I needed to go in the deep freezer. I needed to do all these things, all these things. It's just be like a list piled up. I have stuff at the kitchen door, all type of stuff, like waiting to go to the basement type thing, because I don't go to the basement every day. And do you know, when I went in that basement, I realized that I had sewage backed up down there that I didn't know had been down there since I don't know how long, because this rains has been going on, and I got this huge tree in my backyard that I already expressed that is the shade of my house, so I usually don't use my air. But that tree roots is everywhere up under this foundation, and so it causes problems and aggravation. And my stuff has been down there soaking in sewage for days before I actually realized it, and who knows how long. And that's, anyway, I'm not gonna rant about it. It is what it is in this space until I leave this space. But as of now, I'm happy to be in this space. I'm finally living in here after almost a year and a half of paying bills and not being able to be comfortable, functional. And that's a whole nother segment of videos we'll get to as well. We want to stay on focus, on topic, and the topic is me and how I came to be and who I be and how I'm going to be on this YouTube TV. It is TV. So yeah, my mom was an amazing being. At 18, she was taken to DC with the senators. Such a big deal, right? At such a young age, right? And she was instrumental in their campaign and helped them to get into office. So they created positions for her. And so she went from the Senate to the Capitol, ultimately, promoted to the Capitol, and then demoted to resignation. And that's things that I'll share in the future, provided I'm having some people to share it with, or no, it doesn't matter. We just get to that place when we get to that place. But ultimately, my mother was a very tenacious, a very beautiful, powerful, dark melanated tone, panther-esque, like the same energy as a Feeny type. Yeah. And also partook in many movements outside of the assisting of the senators getting into office. While she was successful in that endeavor in her life and many others, um, she relocated to DC area. As I was a newborn, I was left behind with my maternal grandmother to have her settle herself and get herself grounded in a new state alone and not be with the baby needing child care. I was only months old at the time, unfortunately, but my mother was about her coin and she was about her growth and evolution, and she was about her BLACPOWRA, how I say, right? She was about that. She rocked that, she wore that, she walked that. That's where I come from. And that's the only spirit in my immediate family that I know and can say attributes to the life that I live, that I have been living, that I was raised and groomed to live. My mama. She taught me well. And I've been in Ohio. I've been in Ohio after relocating to DC with my mother as a toddler since I was about 12 or 14, something like that. Came back. My dad came home. We tried this father-daughter thing. It didn't quite work out. I thought I was grown at 12 or 14. I really did. You couldn't tell me I wasn't grown. Then this man came from out of nowhere, being a disciplinarian. I was like, who is you? Where you come from? What is you doing? Disrespectful, okay? I did that. Please forgive me, Father. Please forgive me. I never got a chance to ask for that forgiveness because he was taken as well. So at 33, that's when he transitioned, but it wasn't naturally. They, they, these people, those legal capturers and colonizers, they took him from us before he could see the parole board after more than 30 years. But so my mom ended up losing her breath of life in the DC area when I was 20. And by then, my mom had sent me here to live with my grandmother, whom I begged and pleaded and acted a fool to come here to live with, because it was just me and my mom in DC. And I didn't have my own family relatives. I had her friends and family relatives, which didn't quite equate to the same for me. So I always griped about it. I was never happy. I probably gave my mother the hardest time she could ever have, trying to make a life for herself and for her only child, for her only birth child, because she attempted many child births, but none to fruition would gestate in her womb anymore. So I was the only given full live birth child of my mother's. And while with my mother in DC, I experienced so much wonderful, beautiful things and people and experiences, all not the best, some the best, just a mix of a lot. living on the northwest side of the city, living on the northwest and southwest is where we lived. And then in Silver Springs, Maryland is where she ultimately um, moved to. By the time I was in Ohio, I really didn't know my mother's whereabouts a lot because I didn't come to DC. She would come to Ohio over the years that I was here and in school. She would come during the holidays and during her vacation times. And so I really am not really sure about the other locations, the ones that I didn't live in, other than the Silver Springs one, because I didn't live there, but I did visit while she was living there. But ultimately, where she transitioned at was in a northwest area called, I guess you would call it Columbia Heights area or whatever, or yeah, Columbia Heights area. But anyway, my mom is right here in my face. Unfortunately, I don't get to hug and embrace the physicality of her because her vessel is not anymore, but all of her essence is. All of her gifts are. All of her beauty is. All of her beauty. I don't have the beautiful melanin tone that she had going on. That's the one thing I wish I had, but I have my mother's everything else, and I have my father's complexion. And I'm even a little darker. I'm a lot darker now than I used to be because as I was growing up as a little girl, lightest thing in my family, my nickname was Whitey. Whitey because I'm pure. Whitey because I'm so dope. Yes, that's what they gave me as a child, and I didn't know. I didn't know anything about what all was to be known. Neither did they, and they still don't. But I've evolved, and I move on, and I carry my light, regardless of where I came from. So, having to endure such hardships, early hardships at an early age, formed me into this being that is very no nonsense type of being. No nonsense. Like, people say I'm funny. People think I'm hilarious. People, I crack people up. Just being serious. Like, I'm not even being funny. I don't even be trying to joke. I don't even be knowing why people be thinking it's so funny. The shit I be saying, I'm serious when I'm saying it the majority of the time. But it's the delivery for people, I guess. It's the delivery. The I livery. Because I don't die livery, okay? And so ultimately, yeah, so much to say, do, and be here. And to hope and share that people will find a way through. Because if you can come back from death, you can come back from anything. Now, I'm not saying I physically died and left here. I'm saying the depths of the hell that I've lived in this plane and the things that I've been through and the betrayals and the hurt and the pains and the traumas and the dramas that could have sent me out of my vessel. Could have sent me running to a refuge that would have totally taken me up out of here. And at some places in my space and in my life, especially after losing my mother and my son, like, I really didn't go through the depth of pain that I went through after losing my mother that I did after losing my son. Like, I thought I had experienced the highest pain that I could have experienced. At that point, I never knew it could go deeper. So I've done all the things I think that I could do in the physical. Like, I'm not claiming to have done everything and have experienced everything. There are some things I will never experience in this vessel because I've experienced them in other lives, and I don't need to revisit and relive those things in this vessel. There's things that I will not experience. There's a numerous amount of things that I am aware that I've already mastered and evolved from, and I won't ever have to revisit. And because thankfully my guides and my ancestors share and give me the wisdom that guides me, and so I know so much about who this vessel is now, right? And so I'm so thankful for that, and I'm so grateful for that, because I have elders, family members, people that are near and dear to my heart, that are double my age, darn near, and they don't have a clue. They have not been able to search their souls. They have not been able to successfully ever sit in their own silence to see inside of their own soul. And so they'll be back because they haven't yet to achieve that. They'll be back as many times as they need to come back in order to be able to achieve that. And I'm so grateful that that's not me. I'm so grateful that's not me. Ashay! You don't have a clue what I'm feeling on the inside because I know what I know. And I've done the work, and I continue to do the work, and I'm going to continue to grow in this work. And so I'm just hoping that people can find themselves before the pain. Find your light. Know yourself. Grow yourself. Learn your purpose. Those agreements, those life and death pacts that you made. Those past lives that you've experienced, that you've lived. And if you're not a resurfacing soul, knowing how to not become a resurfacing soul. Because this is a prison planet. Believe it or not, know it or not, ready for it or not, it is what it is. And so if you don't learn these things, if you don't maximize your greatness, if you don't elevate your spiritual enlightenment and growth and potential to all that it has, its vastness, you will never get it all. But the most of the growth that you can attain from experiences, from, I don't know, for lack of better words right now, from alarm clock experiences that are sent to you directly for you in order to groom you and help grow you, and so that you can better learn and know you will be a resurfacing soul in this prison planet to help it continue to do what this prison planet is designed to do. That's real. That's real. So I implore you, souls, pained and unpained, growed and ungrowed, knowed and unknowed, to get about that work. To get about that work. Don't let the pain be the reason that you turn the tables on your own investments in your life and for your soul. Don't let the pain be the motivation. See, these Moors that I have encountered, they have some terminology that they use, and they say things regarding you needing to make adjustments but being under fire while doing so. And so, for lack of the proper remembering exactly what the terminology is, it's like, don't be in the hot seat. Don't let your kitchen be heated up before you got to figure out, how to cool it down. How to cool it down right now before the pain or before any trauma or stress or strain. We are so comfortable being everything but ourselves, everything but the spirit growth that we have come here and agreed to endeavor. Because we get our little titles, we get our little comfortable positions, we get in our relationships, we have our children, we do the hamster wheel thing. We get on the wheel and the wheel get to turning. We don't know how to get off. We don't even know we on the wheel. We never know we on the wheel until some hit the fan. And then you got to retrospect and recheck and reflect. And then you want to recollect like, oh, This is, how did I get here? What am I doing? You want to recollect those things that mean the most to you because you feel some type of way. Because something is not working out quite the way you thought it was supposed to or it was going to. And so most of the time we are motivated by the things that do us the most damage and the most harm. And that's how I got to where I realized it's my time. I was planning on things that weren't for me. I was looking down avenues that weren't for me. I was traveling on roads that I didn't belong on. Trying to find my way. Following people who did not know their way. Following leads who was lost themselves, you know? So the pain is what prompted me and purged forth my shiny essence. Shiny essence. People like, dang, what you do to your skin? I don't do nothing. I just woke up. I haven't even bathed today yet. I haven't. Because I'm probably going to bathe after I do my cooking. Because I went to the grocery store yesterday. I was supposed to be going to get 2 things. I needed relish and I needed produce. Now, one thing was the relish, but the other things for produce were for my fresh veggies, salads, and stuffed greens that I haven't had. Because I hadn't been to the grocery store. And every time I go out to do something like that, I end up not going. I passed the grocery store. I went in the Dollar Tree the other day. I needed 2 things. I didn't have a list. I came out of the Dollar Tree with 18 things. Not one of those things was the 2 things I went in there for. I still need to go back to the Dollar Tree. I may go tomorrow because I'm not going out today. Maybe tomorrow. But I planned on not going out all weekend, actually. Because I was going to fully engage myself in this webinar. Do all the due diligence that I needed to do while participating and partaking. Make my notes and formulate my own map, right? That was my plans for this weekend. Well, my plans have changed again. So I'm not doing the webinar all weekend. I'm not doing the webinar tomorrow or Sunday. I already had plans for my day on Sunday. I'm going to see if I could proceed with those plans and get myself squared away to get what I had planned for Sunday, which is MJ Day. Michael Jackson, peace be upon your soul. My precious angle. My precious archangel. I don't know why I be getting tongue-tied, because I speak different languages. That's why I get tongue-tied for real. So, and I'm not really speaking the language that I would like to speak to the people that's listening to me or that will come through and view this, because I don't know you. And I'm getting to know you, and I'm going to have to be comfortable in front of this camera before I could do me for real. Do me for real. Speak the language that I would like to speak for real. Be the energy that I am wholly and genuinely for real. Because right now I'm having to tread lightly. I'm having to watch my words. I'm having to formulate my thoughts. I'm not just flowing because I'm not talking to an actual people. I'm sitting in front of a camera and I'm talking to myself, basically, because at the end of the day, when nobody likes the videos or nobody's commenting or I don't even see that it's been viewed, I'm literally talking to myself. But it's okay, because we like us. We love us over here. We love us over here. We talk to ourselves all the time because we get the best advice from us. And unless I can find a better source, we'll be talking to ourselves. We'll be talking to ourselves and we'll be sharing with you what we talk about. How about that? And so, living through the murder of my mother was something that was a tragedy I never imagined that I would experience, much less live 30 plus years past. Now, I'm not saying that after I lost my mother, I was in the deepest depression as I was after I lost my son. I was not. I was hurt. I was discombobulated. I was bewildered. I was confused. I was angry. I was real angry at the people that was closest to me because I know the preventative measures that was not taken. I know the level of love that was not there. I know the realness and the real essence of my family dynamic that caused my mother to be where she was and to ultimately lose her life in that way. And the reasons that she went to where she was, I know. So I was very angry with the people that was closest to me. I ain't want no parts. I ain't want no parts of them before my mother was murdered, as I remember now. You know, I was reminded actually by my younger cousin that I was like not talking to anybody in the family when my mother was murdered. So they came, sent my younger cousin to get me from where I was with so called friends that was family, so called friends that was family. Because they were my family in that moment and in that time span. And sent my cousin to get me with a whole made up scenario about my mother. Came to get me. I'm like shaking in my boots because I know my mother was not no joke. When I say Pantheresque, that's what I mean. Wasn't no fucking jokes. Wasn't no playing. Wasn't no playing with my mother. Like pretty much I'm the same as my mother, but a lighter version. A lighter version on a couple of different aspects, not just the skin tone melanated versions of that lighter. Cause yeah, I know the power that